good with YouTube, y'all? You know, Big Flocko with the comics perspective. And I'm gonna smash, dash, slide on through. Little bit of energy, man. So the peak game. This is two videos in one. One, I'm discussing, the back history of why I dropped out. Two, goes into additional information after dropping this that I found out years later, man. A lot of good information that ends up corroborating everything I said in the first video. With that said, enjoy. It's a long one. What you want to know about me? Stay through and finish all the way through.
What's good with the YouTube, man? It's your boy Rojo, Convict's Perspective, joined by my boy, my co-host, my friend, Big Flocko is in the building. Man, today, as you could tell a little bit in the title, Flocko is going to discuss, what happened with his career, with the group that we used to be associated with, and dispel any of the rumors and false truths or anything that are out there, because people like to run their mouth. So he's going to set the record straight in his own words with the situation that happened. So without all the, preliminary blah, 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 let's get to it. What's up, Flox?
Man, chilling, bro. I feel it's that right time right now to just sit there and get it all out there, be transparent, because there's a whole lot of misconceptions about who did what, you know what I mean? So and why. So let's get straight to it. So I first started associating myself with the NF around 2000 when I paroled. I was sent out to the streets through Wino from Oakland and Carlitos from San Juan, right? To go out there, I was on probation, I was supposed to get a job, lay low, getting insurance, do all the things, have a low profile. And once I was established, I was to communicate with Carlitos and send him my phone number. We had an established code. So I did that. I sent my number in, right? I was ready to rock and roll. And about 2 weeks later, I get a call from Daniel Oshley Lizard, right? And everything went from there, man. I got plugged in with Robert Chico Rose. I rose through the ranks, working hand in hand with him. And he ended up getting indicted on Operation Black Widow. Okay, so at that time, when he got indicted, we were the stragglers left out there on the streets. Okay, so we had communications with Skip and Goose and all them, right? And so we were taking care of all the business that needed to be taken care of at that time when everybody got indicted. So all the people that owed money, all the debts, all the issues, we was out there just running it for them, man, collecting all these debts. Therefore, I started to get a reputation as someone who was a solid individual. I started having a working relationship with the Carnales out there in Salinas as well. So around that time, I caught a case, well, I went in on a violation in 2002, right? I met the Carnal Huicho de San Juan at that time, right? And I knew he had just stepped out from the Bay, and we were looking for him to get in contact. And I gave him the whole rundown about my situation, right? Which was, the thing that was interesting about my situation was I was left out there in the streets, right, during these indictments. And then I had two individuals who were telling on me at that time, Ashley and Chico Rose. Chico had just flipped. So the city started looking. So Huicho had the authority at that time to recruit NF members, right? And he could recruit them for either Skip or for Quete at that time. And so he was propositioning me at that time to be an NF candidate. Okay, so Blancho had agreed on that as well, right? So they were kind of starting the process, right? But Huicho wanted to wait till we got out there in the streets. So the Carnal, Robert Hanrahan came in, Bubba from Salinas. We started communicating. He goes, I heard about you through Boxer and this and that you're a solid individual. I'm in contact with Boxer. I could shoot your number to him. I said, oh yeah, go ahead. I didn't think nothing of it. About 2 weeks later, I get a call from a Boxer, right? I thought I was going to plug directly into the regiment I was previously associated with, but Boxer, because he was reestablishing Salinas and they wanted to get that as a stronghold again, had petitioned through Skip to get clearance for me to function in Salinas. And when he did that, I was able to bring two people from San Jose with me. So I was able to function out there in San Jose and report to Salinas. So all kinds of stuff happened. Boxer ends up getting caught up, then Smokey gets caught up, then Bubba gets caught up, and then Wino's out there as the RC. So Huicho had touched down at that time on the streets. And then he made a request, right, to Skip to start working with me out there on the streets. Skip told him, we'll wait and see how you do out here, right? So while Weechel was out there, he ended up absconding from parole. And when he absconded on parole, he got in contact with me. He said he needed help. So I reached out to the carnales out there in Salinas and said, hey, Carnal Weechel, he's caught up, he's on the run, he needs a place. So Wino puts me in contact with Cyclone Montoya. I get in contact with him. Me and Weechel, we drive all the way out to the Salinas. I meet Cyclone in one secluded spot, and then we drive from there all the way to this little town called Marina, which used to be, I think, Fort Ord. And so when we're there, Wino ends up paying the female money. Weechel's supposed to stay at the spot, but Weechel said he had to take care of some business and he will come back. So in the process of that, we left. I take Weechel back to San Jose. Weechel was kind of losing his mind at that time, and what he wanted to start doing was he was trying to kidnap his cousin who started a landscaping business, and he wanted to hold him for ransom, right? And so we ended up giving him a cuete, right? You know, I was told not to abandon him, do whatever I could while I was out there. So he ends up, next thing you know, I'm getting a knock on my door. He's in a whole fucking mechanic fucking suit. He comes in, I'm like, what the fuck, man? He goes, man, I just tried to rob my cousin, man. He goes, I pistol whipped him, I dragged him. He stole my car, I stole his car, and all kinds of crazy stuff. It wasn't making no sense to me, right? And then I turn on the TV, watching the Channel 5 news. Guess whose picture comes out on Channel 5? Luis Huicho Gonzalez, wanted for attempted kidnapping and carjacking. And I'm like, fuck. You know what I mean? He calls someone, gets picked up, I take off. I go get my car that I just had some body work done. Go to a motel. They end up coming to the hotel. They got my numbers where I was at because I was married and I had everything in my wife's name at that time, who was, you know, a young chick from Watsonville, not known or anything. And so I didn't think that they were able to catch up to me. So next thing you know, I'm getting a knock on the door. Hey, we had a 911 call. My wife hesitated at the time for a second while I started flushing on my dope. I had my 9-month-old daughter in the room. And so from there, she ended up opening the door. I didn't find everything. They found about a quarter zip of dope in the room. First thing the cop said was, hey, how you doing, Hunter? I'm like, I'm doing good. I go, you ain't heard nothing that I've been doing anything bad out here in the streets. He goes, well, you know, I heard you know Luis Gonzalez. I'm like, fuck. That's why they're there. So in the process of them trying to interview me, I'm telling them I don't know nothing. I got nothing to say. They have her outside. And they tell me that if you don't tell us, we're going to take your wife to jail. We're going to put your daughter in CPS custody and you're going to be washed. I'm like, well, do what you got to do. Put the cuffs on. So they put the cuffs on me. They put me in the patrol car. They go interview my wife at that time, right? They try telling her, he says he doesn't care about you or his daughter, that he knows where he's at. But he told us, fuck you guys. You know, do you know where he's at? And she knew where he was at. And she said, no. So they tell her, you know, you're young. He's involved in some criminal operations out here in the streets. He's involved with the NF. You may want to leave him. She takes off. I lived off of Stevens Creek in Winchester at the time. She goes to the house. The cops had already hit the house. She looked at the caller ID and she's seen all the different numbers that called. So she called back, called Weechel, and she let him know, hey, check this out. The boys in blue got me. Wherever you're at, they got all the numbers on our phone. They're going to hit up all those locations. Get out of there. He was able to get out because of this. So she takes off from there and goes from San Jose to Pleasanton, to my mom's house, okay? 10 minutes after she got to Pleasanton, guess what happened? San Jose PD came and fucking rushed my mom's house. SWAT team, everything. Because they thought because she was getting rooms in her name while he was on the run, that she was also assisting him. So they were trying to threaten her with that too. Like, look, you've been assisting him, you know, you're an accomplice to these crimes and this and that, right? We're going to give you a couple of days, and if not, we're going to take you in and we're going to take your daughter. So after that, my mom's a realtor. So she had her broker fill out a notary, giving custody to my mom, right? And so 3 days later, they tried to hammer up that they were going to take her in and we're going to take your daughter. She says, you can't. I've already have it legally notarized that I gave full custody over to my mother-in-law. So if you want to take me to jail, take me to jail. Where do we meet? She went down to the Burger King. They never showed up. So I call her up, bam. She's like, man, they're on me. And she was never involved in trying to be involved in that lifestyle. She only did it because the things I was trying to have her do for me out in the streets, and she did it well. She didn't interact with anybody more than she was supposed to. She kept it solid and she did whatever was necessary. So Weechel shows up and to the county jail, and he's like, hey, gracias, and this and that. So I start communicating with him, Weechel and Chuco, because Chuco's now there, right? So I'm doing my thing in the county jail. Chuco's in the old jail. I have the new jail. Eventually, they have me up. I get placed down there. So Chuco knew the whole story through Weechel about how solid my wife was in all these actions. I actually had a female visiting Weechel so we could communicate with Chuco, right? Until they had deemed Chuco. So lo and behold, I end up getting in some time. I get out in 2005. I plug into the San Jose Regiment. Now, at this time, my experience, my credibility, everything that I've learned, I'm starting to really, advance within the ranks, right? That I wanted more authority and jurisdiction out there on the streets. I think I could be more productive, because I already had small crews out there before. So I had it sanctioned to where I could have jurisdiction and have my own sanctioned crew. Like I had to pull 3 people under me, right? That would work with the regiment, that would get their monthlies, and they were supposed to get monthlies as well. So at that time, I think I was bringing in about at least a minimum $1,500 a month, minimum, right? And I had hoods from BRS that were plugged into me, homeboy from Meadow Fair, Milpitas, Sunnyvale, all these different areas. And we were flourishing out there. We were getting money, you know what I'm saying? And at that time, a lot of things happened, between state and feds was going on. Pocky was out there trying to claim incommunicado. There was a power struggle with San Jose, didn't want to acknowledge anything Salinas had to say. So they ended up reaching out to Skip. They had directions to start recruiting 3 people out there in the streets. So I was one of those ones that they were supposed to start recruiting. Other one was Clayton Shorty Clark, and the other one was Joker from Solomon. So at that time, my responsibilities, I had other things I was doing out there, like I was in contact with 2 different prisons that were incommunicado, so they would report to us and send the money our way. In addition to that, when people were getting out of certain facilities, I would be that contact to place them in an existing regiment, Red Northerners or Insoldados like that. So one individual was plugged, told to report to me when he got out to the streets. I knew him. He was a young homie of mine, right? And so when he got out there, I know he's a knucklehead sometimes. And I had things going so well out there, I didn't want to plug him in with myself. I felt he would be a detriment, to my functions. So I elected to plug him in with Lencho. I figure an older C, could, teach him the right ways, because me knowing him, it becomes a little bit of a power struggle because, he's my homeboy. So as all this was going on out there, we're doing our thing. And what ends up happening is we're at this trap spot and he's over there as well. I told him, you're not supposed to intervene in my activities out here, bro. I'm not going to tell you again, homie. And my wife, we had just got an argument and she was going to leave. He asked if he could get a ride. Okay, we've been around each other's baby mamas, ladies, all that. Just the way my hood used to operate, there was no kind of shady shit going on like that out there. So he ends up getting a ride. And in the process of him getting a ride, she was pissed off about me or whatnot. He had that joint in his ear and she goes, hey, spark that shit up. And he turned to her and said, honestly, I want to fuck the shit out of you. And she told him, like, what the fuck? She was more shocked. And she told him, do you want to get killed? Nah, they're not going to do nothing to me. We're out here running shit. I'll tell him that you lied, you're trying to cross me up, and he'll have you killed for trying to cross up a homie in the regiment. Then he tried to grab her, and she fucking slapped his hand. She thought that initially that I put him up to test her. So she was tripping, like, what the fuck is going on? So at that time, I came up on a pretty big lit. Someone owed $10,000, right, to some individual. I ended up going and collecting that debt. Me and a couple of homeboys, we laid this house down. I made him sign over his car. Now, this was 2005 around October, and there was a serious drought out there in San Jose in the dope game. So I decided to take this vehicle to go trade it for some dope to one of the connects. You know what I mean? And basically, the dude wasn't paying contribution to the NF, so I basically burned him for that $10,000 that was over, right? So I wanted to help out a couple people, and one of them was him. Even though he was working with Lencho, I know how Lencho is. He's just selfish about himself. Hey, I'll shoot you a couple zips at a price that was like 75% less than the plug value. And he acted all weird, you know? I couldn't understand it.
That's when stuff was going for like 1,500 or something.
Yeah, yeah. So she turns and tells me, she goes, I don't like him. I go, what the fuck? And she told me the story, man. And then I fucking just flipped out, bro. Like, what? This, I mean, like, you're gonna disrespect me like that? And there were some things that he was tripping off, right? Like one time, his baby mama that he was with at that time, he was beating on her, right? He had a gun. I grabbed my hand, I put it over his hand. I said, you're not gonna do that in front of me. He goes, get your hand off me. I go, you're gonna have to shoot me before you hit her again. So he tripped on that. Another thing, when I seen his lady one time in the streets, I gave her money for diapers. That's what you're supposed to do for homeboy's lady. So he kind of thought maybe something was going on between me and her. I've known her before he ever was with her. You know what I'm saying? That was my homegirl. He was like a little youngster. So I pick up another homeboy from Milpitas, man, another homeboy named Charcoal, that he had done some fucked up shit too as well when he was on that dope. Tried to set the homie on fire and all kinds of shit. So I went to Wedo's house with my wife, had her relay the whole story. And Wedo was at first like, let's get this dude. All right, cool. But he's under Lencho's crew, right? So when everything got back to Lencho, now instead of Lencho deciding to back my play, he tried to make every excuse not to, because this dude was selling Lencho a pipe dream. You know what I'm saying? A whole bunch of bullshit. And so I ended up going over there with Lencho, brought my wife as well. And then she got mad. She goes, why do I have to keep on repeating myself? You know what I'm saying? I'm the one tripping more than she is about it. And she's telling them, look, I didn't do this to try to get them crossed up. I did this out of the respect for myself and my husband. This is what happened. And then Lencho goes, okay, well, we don't accept that shit. But he didn't do nothing about it, because dude was promising to make him money. Now, lo and behold, 6 weeks before this, Lencho's son, Danny, right, who used to kick it and live in Milpitas with my little young homeboys, they all said he was a weenie, right? So he's having problems on the south side with some dudes. And I told Lencho, okay, you know what, bro? I'll go handle that shit. When I mean by handle it, I'll go handle it. I was willing to do that for Lencho. So when this situation flipped, right, on me, he's having a different attitude because it benefits him financially. Yeah. Right? So he's trying to pacify the situation. I wrote a fucking long ass report. I wanted to go to Chuco, and I brought up allegations on Lencho as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not supposed to put materialistic things, money or women or anything before the organization. This is my fucking wife. She's been there from day one, holding her fucking mud. She shouldn't be disrespected. This dude's just a fucking northerner. No disrespect, but that's the way it works within the organization. I'm over here supposed to be recruited as a C, and you're going to tell me that this dude, because he's making you money, you're not going to back my play? And I left two different options. I said, one, if he admits it, okay, let me smash the dude one-on-one, which I was going to do anyways. Let's find the dude $10,000. Let me get half of that. And the first order of business for cleanup, let's have him do it. Now, if he wants to deny it, I'm asking for clearance to kill him. That's all I wanted, you know? And so it was put on the back burner. They acted like they addressed it. They said, okay, we'll deal with it later, my man. What the fuck? And so I'm tripping out there, and I'm running around with a strap everywhere, dope, everything, and I'm running loose. And they're following me out there. And so I'm in a liquor store off Allen Rock. Next thing you know, the cops came and fucking swarmed on me, right? Caught me with a gun and some dope. I get to the county jail, right? And the GIU pulls me out from San Jose, you know, the law enforcement. And they start talking about, they know what I'm doing out there, that there's rumors. They showed me fucking wheelers and letters that were written that were talked about me that they had got from SSU. Talking about that I'm being a detriment because of the issues that I'm pushing. So I hadn't made an agreement to actually work with them yet, right? And I had to really think about it. I'm like, wow, I'm gonna do 12 years because or whatever time I was looking at it, for these dudes who don't give a fuck about me, this dude's gonna be out here. This whole issue with my wife's gonna be forgotten about. And I'm supposed to just accept this. I'm like, fuck these dudes. I'm done. You know what I mean? I would have did anything for you guys. what I'm saying? I expected that loyalty returned. I felt betrayed. I felt everything. I felt fucking all alone. Like everything that I put in meant nothing. And that was my mindset, man. So it was an easy decision. Now I ended up getting to DVI. I take over that prison. Guess who ends up showing up to DVI? That individual. Guess who ends up burning Lencho for some dope out there and was talking bad on him and his son? This guy. I had to do fucking hit. Wrote my fucking report, sent it to the base, sent to corporate, no fucking issues. Okay, now you could think, okay, maybe that should be a done issue, but they had already fucking betrayed me. So I was like, fuck these dudes. So I get out and I'm doing my thing. And I get into it on the phone with one of them, right? He goes, yeah, you did that because it was personal in there and this and that. I go, yeah, what? He goes, well, if you have a problem, you can come fucking see me. I'm thinking like, fuck, I'm about to get into it with, you know, over this shit. So it got left alone. And at that time, you know, I'd been caught with a gun. I'd been caught with dope. None of these fucking dudes even had the audacity to question it. Why was I fucking even out? You know what I'm saying? And my mission on that whole thing is I'm gonna get Lencho, I'm gonna get Weddle, and I'm gonna get the other dudes. Plain and simple. And whatever happens, happens after that. You know, because it was a blow to my ego, man. I mean, it made me feel like everything that I did was nothing. That, you know, and that just really changed my whole direction, you know? So I started doing what I was doing. You know, I did a control buy with Lencho for a gun, a control buy with Weddle for some dope, and a control buy with Joker for some PCP, right? Now, they wanted me to do a whole lot of more stuff. I refused to do it. You had the FBI involved, you had the DEA, ATF, and the San Jose PD involved. And I was playing both sides. I was out there on borrowed time, so I was out there fucking hustling like a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Because when it's up, it's up. You know what I mean? And if I get pulled over, I don't think they're gonna take me to jail. But I found out later they were talking about taking me to jail because they knew what I was doing out there. So investigation goes on for 3 months. Me and Weddle end up going to this one spot, a safe spot that I had. Me and him had together, but that they knew about. So someone else was actually over there to meet us. They recognized the undercover. You know what I'm saying? So immediately he told me to grab the stuff, man, and that's where everything became chaos. So I ended up picking up a safe with 2 pounds of meth. Come back, right? I have it at my house. I go meet with these guys, and they're telling me to do this and do that. You know what I mean? I'm like, look, you're not gonna implicate my new girlfriend. That she has nothing to do with this. You know what I'm saying? Take me in, I don't care. This is all personal between me and them. So I go get the safe and come back. Now they had gave me a phone, which I had never even used it. That you could fucking sit there and push a code in, it changes the number and it records. This is from the FBI. So I'm talking to this FBI agent, and he's trying to tell me, you're gonna do what I tell you, because they wanted me to go after other people. I told him I'm not gonna do that. So I took the fucking phone and I broke it. Bam! Right? They put me in cuffs, take me down to the police station. They didn't know what to do. So they pretty much ended that whole investigation at that point forward. They come back to me, they gave me this thing to read, and I remember it, it says, call and relay this message to them, that you have 4 BISAs and a red CRV that are following you. So I call Weddle, I tell Weddle that. Weddle, he tells me it was you, and he hung up, bam. So at that time, that's when they did all the fucking raids and everything that in between, man. You know, there's a whole lot of, you know, misconceptions, you know, as far as, you know, did I do this to get out of time? I gave a fuck about doing time. I would have did that on my fucking, I was only looking at 12 years, bro. That's it. You know, that wasn't the reason. It was because I felt betrayed by these individuals. I felt disrespected by these individuals. You're supposed to be my brother, but you're turning a fucking blind eye to what happened to me and my family. I put this before my own fucking family. But when push comes to shove, I expect you to back up my family as well. And you guys were about to deem me no good because I was pushing up on you guys or just having talks about it? Nah, I'm cool with that. Fuck you guys. So I testified in grand jury. And one of the questions that they asked me was, were you ever promised any time? And they can pull up this grand jury testimony and everything. I said, no, I don't care about doing time or not. I didn't do this for no deal. There was no plea arrangement. There was nothing. I did this for the disrespect, the disloyalty that was done onto me and my family, that I could never be a part of this group no more. I'm no longer going to put anybody first but myself and my family now. And it was left at that. So I mean, I hear people in the comments are talking about like, oh, he wore a wire, he did this and that. Or I don't believe in snitching. I don't believe in telling. This was my outlet to leave the group that was disloyal to me. You're going to deem me no good anyways if I say, fuck you guys. Well, you know what? Fuck you back. And no matter how I try to spin it, it doesn't matter. I'm informed. I get it. I don't believe in telling. There's dudes that come in and catch a case over some small shit. Everything after, I was still out in the streets. I took my own fucking beef. My shit was more personal. But it is what it is. There's no fucking denying it. But you get people on there, well, he did it because he was scared to do time. No, I didn't do none of that. I could have fucking took down hella fucking people, man. And all the years I put in, all the money I contributed didn't mean shit. My wife held her fucking mud the first time.
Yeah, your mom's house got raided, all that.
When I was locked up, I owed some money, right? She got our tax return and met with them and paid out of her tax return fucking the Carnales back. And when she went down there, they kind of slided her. Is it all there? She goes, yeah, I told you, full payment. So I was already feeling a certain way at that time, Yeah, I mean, this is the truth, bro. This is my story. This is what happened, man. There's a lot of more details to it, man, but, it just came down to one thing. When you believe in something, when you put yourself into it full force, sometimes you're blinded with all the negativity that circulates around it. These individuals didn't care about nobody but their own fucking resume, their own pockets. So when push came to shove, everybody bowed down to Lencho because there's Carnales to this day that told me they should have backed your play, that Lencho should have been stripped.
I've seen the interactions. I can vouch for that. Active.
Yeah, they told me that you were done wrong. So there's people who've reached out to me saying, you know what, Fox, we know you're a good dude. And even in the process, when all this happened, I went down to my fucking hood, bro. After it was all out there, and I went to a certain homeboy's house. I'll put his name out there because he passed away in Mexico City. He was killed. Went to my homeboy Ozen's house. Another homeboy was there too. That was my homeboy from my hood. Went there. I was strapped up. Came in, sat on the couch. Homeboy walks in, and he looks at me, goes, what, you got a wire? I go, nah, I'm strapped. He goes, oh, I bet. So I told the homeboys, I go, look, bro, this is why I did it, bro. You guys know my wife is solid. You guys know, even though this was my home when I left for him, you guys know how false he is when he's on that dope. You guys didn't even want to get involved in this shit when it was happening. I said, I came here because I'm no punk and I love you guys. I wish I would have never got involved in this stuff. The politics, the organization, it wasn't about the betterment of nothing, but I let my ego get in the way. And so I said, if you guys feel a certain way, I go, you could take off right now, but I'm strapped. I'm not going out. But I came here because I respect you guys. You guys are my homies. Fuck all the organization shit. You guys are my partners. And I wanted to at least give them that, face to face. This is why I did it. And homeboy looked at me and goes, that's why I don't get involved in politics, bro. I go, I know. Let this be an example, bro. I told him, don't push the youngsters away from the cause. Don't push them away from the struggle. But tell them that organizational life, it's not all cracked up to be, you know what I mean? I thought I was fucking John Gotti over here, you know what I mean? I had my own authority, making decisions, crews doing this and that, workers, man. I was making a lot of money, brother, and from there, it all ends. No matter what you do or what you put into this life, your choices and decisions, people are going to judge you just based upon that. No one all knows about my wife being solid. She wasn't no fucking whore. She wasn't running around there doing all kinds of faulty shit. She was fucking a solid fucking female. No homeboys from Peters would say any different. None of the Carnales from Salinas would say anything different. She did not deserve to be put in that position to where she had to explain herself, and you guys ain't gonna do shit about it. How many times did I go do things, kicking dudes' doors because they owe some Carnal money that's locked up? It didn't get one penny from it all the time. And so it was basically, it brought me down to a huge depressed state, man, because it's like, man, that's all you had. That's all I had. was this reputation, you know, of doing things, bro. You know what I mean? I had a very solid reputation. Nothing bad on my name. Everybody wanted to fuck with me, you know, made money, made right decisions, you know, but I felt let down by the organization, bro. I felt let down. I felt betrayed. And I was like, man, fuck Mitchell. You know, fuck these other cats. You know, so that's why I decided to fucking cooperate. And none of the other bullshit has anything to do with it. Because I was still doing so much business transactions that when this happened, I talked to a couple people at that time. I said, you have nothing to worry about. I was doing business dealings with the Salinas Regiment at that time. When Chopper was dropping off dope out there to Manuel Moses Cardenas from Fremont, I was doing business with him, picking up work as well. And we were keeping that kind of on the down low. So there's all kinds of shit that I was doing that motherfuckers weren't getting hemmed up because it was personal, bro. It had nothing to do with anything else. You know, and I'm not trying to justify it. This is my story. This is my truth. You could judge me based upon that. But if something's done to you, your daughter, your mom, your wife, and the organization turns a blind eye because they're making someone money, how the fuck are you gonna feel about that? You know, where I can't even take action because I'm gonna get deemed fucking no good. And believe me, I was gonna take action when I see him. That's why I had that fucking pistol on. I was gonna go against the grain, period.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask you, man. Now that you told, you know, your story, going back in time, bro, what would you do different? Or would you do anything different?
I wouldn't have.
If you could go right back to that point where that dude harassed your wife.
I probably would have dealt with him behind the scenes. I wouldn't have reported it. See, I reported everything.
Yeah, you're doing it by like how you're supposed
I was
to.
doing it by the book because he's working with Lynch. Bear in mind, he's a northerner, but when you get plugged to a crew, you're an NF associate. Regardless if I was being pulled as a C or not, that's irrelevant. He's still functioning under another C can't touch him either. None of us could. Because that's his fucking crew member. Yeah. That's going to be based left upon his decision. Now you can push the issues, right? And Lynch was acting like he was going to deal with it, you know? And the thing was, is me and Lynch, we had bumped heads many times before. We had bumped heads in San Quentin when I was in the back bar, and Weecha was in the front bar. Weecha was trying to recruit me and start me in the process. So the back bar RA, I told him, look, my communications are in a business. You cannot see these filters. He went out there and played to Lencho, who was the RC. So Lencho came out and said, well, I run everything and fucking whoa. All right, you know what I mean? So not just that.
It sounds like DB, man. No. All I'm seeing is Dancing Bear's face, but they're two of the same loaf.
So when Boxer got hemmed up, no one got in contact with me. I was waiting for dates. So I knew about Peggy. Conejo from San Jose just got out, and I met up with him and the homie Monster, and they didn't have a home. So I was trying to pull these dudes with me and Demetrius that were under Salinas, you know, because there was a little bit of conflict over some of the things that we were doing because we were not the San Jose Regiment, but we were operating like as if we were, establishing our own resources. And we were actually running into things that they were doing, or we were accomplishing things that the other regiment was trying to do. So I was trying to build manpower up. So he was close to Peggy's daughter, Coco. Next, you know, he gets in contact with her. She ends up telling Smokey. And when I go to meet Smokey, they say Lencho was fucking pissed. Why is he reaching out to my girlfriend and this and that? How did he know to get a hold of her? Well, fucking everybody knows who fucking Peggy is. I mean, when you ran a check on me, when you said Peggy came to visit you, you said Sticks here. And she goes, what, who, Flacco? So she knows who I am. You know what I'm saying? There shouldn't be no issue. If I'm incommunicado, I'm supposed to find a way to reach out. So he didn't like that, right? But when he got out, I wrote him. I mean, when I got out, I wrote him, send him some money, because I was asked to send him money when I got out. And he started writing me back. He's telling me, hey, don't communicate with Silver. He's all bad, this and that. And when he got out, me and Wedo met up with Lencho. The first thing he says is, I want Flacco. And he's like, nah, we're good over here. You know, so, you know, we did things together. You know, we went to concerts, and his wife was my homeboy's mom at that time. You know, he had met her at a club, and she told me about it. So I told him, hey, bro, that's my homeboy's mom, man. You guys need to connect together. They ended up getting married. You know, so I kind of always questioned that, did Lencho put that red light because his wife's stepson, which is my homeboy too, but he's from that generation, had a rapport with that individual. Did he put it in Lynch's ear to have it dismissed? I always question that, because you know how that favoritism goes. You know, those were some of the things that were going on in my mind.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Yeah, there's, there's unfortunately, man, a lot of people, don't get me wrong. I met a lot of people that were cool, bro, and were really about that action and really follow things the way they're supposed to. But then there's the Lynchos and the DBs, and everything that ever happens is only to benefit them guys. You know what I mean? And you just got caught up in that web of
Hey, bro,
rough individuals that have to be
I
forced
was
to be out
smooth
there.
fucking operator though, bro. I was smooth, bro. Smooth operator, bro. You know what I mean? I mean, there was all kinds of crazy shit that was going on, man. But I mean, that was hard though, bro, because I'm basing my decision when I did this out of anger, bro. You know what I'm saying? Out of anger and immaturity. You know what I'm saying? A little bit. Because as smart as I was still immature about life in other aspects. You know what I mean? I always wanted things to go my way. So I can't say that there's anything I would have did any different, because I wouldn't have the life I have today. For years, I've suffered through depression because of it. You know what I'm saying? Was running amok for years. Had my son. So when I look at my son, I realize that I would not have him in my life if I didn't make that fucking choice. Therefore, that's one of the best things that's ever happened to me besides my two other kids. So I have to be content with the decision that I made. It led me to where I'm at today. You know, for a while, man, I was out there acting fucking fool, running into active homeboys, telling them, this is who I am. This is what I did. You got a problem with it, deal with it. You know what I mean? Because I had that ego. Because I felt now that people were looking at me like I was some bitch or some punk just because I did what I did. I wanted them to understand why. You know what I mean? But with some people, regardless how you explain it, they don't care. They're only going to look at you one way. They're not walking in those shoes.
Well, that's because they're still under that. They're fooled by that whole concept of everything. It's always the individual that's wrong, never the group. And let's be honest. Half the time it's the group's fault. Half the time it's the individuals. I mean, straight up, you could be like, "Oh, he went against the grain." No, the grain went against you sometimes, bro, and that's just facts.
I'm gonna say this on here, right? I got to keep it 100, keeping it real. You know, the other two individuals besides Lencho, I faulted them too. But I honestly can't say that I would have acted any different if I was in their shoes. I can't say that. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's hard when someone has more rank. That's pulling that rank card. You know what I'm saying? And we're taught to follow directives, you know what I mean? Orders and whatnot. I just expected more of a stand up, like, fuck this, we got to deal with this. At first, it was like, let's get this dude. Once it was found out that he was working with Lencho, it was like, oh, we got to wait on that. And Lencho fucking decided to handle it the way he did. You know?
Which was not at all.
Well, see, I get all that, bro. I lived the life. I seen all the shit that shouldn't have happened to happen to people that had no rank or status. I never thought that would happen to fucking me. I thought I was special.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, never thought that would happen. You know what I mean? I made decisions a lot of times, man, in my career, even as a bro, like, I mean, you know, writing filters and striking them up and sending them fucking to the shoe, you know, talking directly to C's, man, checking them, like, hold up. You know what I mean? Doing things that maybe I shouldn't do, that I still had the backing of a lot of people by it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, so my whole thing was, I'm committing myself to be a part of this. You're trying to recruit me in as a C, but yeah, you're not going to back me up when it comes to someone else that's just a northerner. You know what I mean? And that's kind of being a selfish talk, but if you talk to anybody that's within the NF or any of these groups, everybody else is expendable.
Yeah.
Equality is out the door.
100%.
Sometimes there's going to be some favoritism. Sometimes decisions are going to be made without the process. You know, and then she'll try to explain it like this. He goes, well, we really can't prove what happened. What do you want? What do you want me to do? You know what I'm saying? How do you want us to prove it? We can't prove it with your son, but I was still willing to whack that fucking dude for you. You know, how many times do you hear about people where they disrespect another C's lady or something, right? And the dude gets crossed up over it. He gets fined, regardless, even if the female's at fault. You know?
I hear you, brother. It happens way more often than people think. And a lot of people will always judge, like, whatever reason anybody falls off, not just this situation, but ever, all the time. It's always that individual, that everybody looks at like this, like, man, nah, bro. I used to dictate whether people were good or bad or not. It used to be up to me at a lot of points. And a lot of times, man, the decisions that had to be made were fucked up. That's how
Yeah.
it is. And today's lesson right here, man, is it don't matter what you do, how long you've been around, there's politicking going on. How we always talk about, there's certain clear-cut guidelines in the NF, and there's a lot of politicking down south amongst them guys. It's the same thing up north, man. It's who's bringing in money, who's the favorite, who knows who's related to who's this, who's that. And in all seriousness, it's supposed to be the organization number one. All that other stuff is irrelevant except when it comes to the set guidelines and rules. And they're broken whenever it's suitable to benefit the person who has the authority to break them at that point in time. And that's why I say, man, I was real sheltered on how I came in, because I came with Tibs. And I would have been having a mess with all these same individuals, the dancing bears, the lynchos, the lizards, all them weird dudes, bro. And I got really fortunate because of who I got pulled by and who I had to report to. One person. And man, I seen the devastation that all three of them individuals have caused, throughout their time. It's not just Flacco, it's not just, whoever. Man, there's a lot of people, bro, that just aren't good people.
Yeah.
Straight up. All they care about is their dollars and who's doing for me now. If I gave you 10,000 last month, this guy gives you 15 this month. Hey, the guy with 15,000 this month is way more important than my 10 grand last month. And
I'm,
that's
I'm
just
gonna say,
facts.
I'm gonna say this, bro. Anybody that's striving and is a firm believer in the cause and struggle, however they're being indoctrinated, the O is not for you. Because if you really believe in it and you believe in these righteous lines, when you get there, either you're going to become someone different or you're going to be exposed the way I was. Because I started to become different. There's certain situations I dealt with that were beneficial to me. Someone with improper statements. Okay, let's find them. I'll clear him. Even though we have improper statements, he didn't give there's no video and he didn't testify. Damn, but you're going to pay fucking 5,000. This dude did this. Okay, we're going to have him back. It's personal business.
Bending the
You know
rules.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to whatever's beneficial at the time. It happens right now. It happened yesterday. It happened 30 years ago. It'll happen tomorrow.
But
They're going to get banned.
People say, okay, you wore a wire. Yeah, I informed. When people say, did you snitch? I said, no, I never snitched. I informed you. This is different. And what I mean by that is I didn't go do a fucking crime and then decide to tell on the people that I did it with. You know what I'm saying? I'm just joking about that, but it was a tough pill to swallow. And I hear the comments, I see people talk about it. It's like, you know what, man? I need to put it out there. I need to tell the story. Not nobody else. This is my truth, my story.
And there you have it, YouTube. Straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak. My boy Flacco, that's his story for all you guys who are curious, new subscribers, maybe people who always have little comments to make that don't know what the hell they're talking about.
I was nervous on this
is.
one, guy, so bear with me.
You did fine, bro. You did fine. Anyway, YouTube, man, hope you guys enjoy this premiere. Flacco gave you the real deal, the authentic. You know what I'm saying? Some things people don't even like to share. He shared it. Don't even give a damn. It is what it is. But learn from this, man. I knew who Flacco was out there. I know he was out there doing his thing. I know he was participating fully. I know he was being looked at by the big homies for a while. These are things I know. If it happened to him, it could happen to him. It happens to him. The only people it usually don't happen to are the ones who got life. And that's the lesson, is this is going to get you on the BNL or it's going to get you life. And then you could be all this gangster that you want to be so bad when you're sitting in there and never coming home. But for the rest of you guys, observe and analyze everything, not just in gang life, but in normal everyday life, man. So you make the right decisions that are best for you. You know what I mean? Just like in old construction, I've said this before, measure twice, cut once. Do the same thing in life, man. Or you're going to end up in a situation like Flacco's, like mine, like boxers, like gunners, like any of the homies from whoever, it's not, Everybody's like, oh, the cause this, the cause that. Go do 4 terms. Go function in some regiments. Deal with elderly certain individuals that we've been forced to deal with. And then your opinion will hold some weight. But everybody, you know, in the cheerleader section trying to say whoop-de whoop-de whoop, I wouldn't. Okay, that's fine. Come in the yard, don't know what's going on. Let somebody put a knife in your hand. See how you feel. Let a situation happen like Flacco. See how you feel. There's a
All right,
lot.
dude.
There's a lot of talking.
There's a lot more. I'll probably go into more details about how it works and everything. You know what I mean? But for now, I just wanted to put a little bit of the base story out there for you guys just to get a fuller understanding for those that haven't heard, but want to be over there running your fucking mouth. You know what I mean? Ooh.
Have a good day, YouTube. We'll be on live. We'll see after this premiere. I'll probably go on live afterwards. Have a good day. We appreciate you guys. Appreciate your support, each and every one of y'all.
Hey, what's good with the YouTube? It's your boy Rojo. This is the Convict's Perspective. Join my boy Flacco. As always, Flacco's going to be smashing and dashing and sliding on through with a little bit of energy. So we're going to take that into consideration. If he comes on here crazy, just acting the animal. We have a banger for you guys today. We found out some stuff about my boy Flox that's going to blow your mind. And he can tell you better than I can. So what's up, Flox?
So first and foremost, man, salutes to everybody out there. Much respect, man. You know, I dropped a video about a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago, about my the reasons why I dropped out. It gained a lot of traction. A lot of people were watching it. Some people had a different perspective of the past actions of what I did and why I did it. But it came to light. Some stuff came to light recently because based upon that video, a former NF member, one that's no longer active, that was out there in the mix. You know, at this time, there was communications between San Jose and Salinas. Brought to light some issues that were going on concerning me at that time, which were shocking. At the same time, it kind of relieved me of a lot of thoughts, you know what I mean, and brought to light the truth of what really was happening, why certain things happened. And so I'm going to go into a little bit about that, man. But first and foremost, I want everybody to know that this story is going to show you what type of betrayal happens, corruption, disloyalty, and how you're going to have those that are going to campaign against you out of jealousy, out of greed. And if you're only trying to do the right thing and prosper, there's those that are not going to want to see you succeed if it doesn't benefit them. So you guys remember my story. I was transparent. I was real. It was the truth, okay, about why I defected. Now go back to 18 minutes and 30 seconds and review what I said in that video. When I talk about law enforcement showing and telling me that they are trying to put a green light on you, okay? So in 2005, prior to all this occurring, before the incident even with my wife, right? There was issues out there on the streets based upon about how I was moving out there. I was being productive. I was prospering. There was a lot of issues that were going on that somehow I find myself involved in. And in each situation, there was a lot of people who were showing me support at that time. And there were certain individuals that were not feeling too good about that. So allegedly, and this is a big allegedly, and this is something that could be cross-referenced through all the carnales that were out there in Salinas, San Jose, and that whole area, that this is known to be true. Allegedly, they had an inside source with the Santa Clara PD that relinquished information. Apparently, they were looking into someone because they heard rumors about a certain individual. I'm not going to give no names in a lot of these situations. They could be checked into because this person is still active, that he was allegedly at a probation office talking. And so they were trying to get confirmation through an alleged inside source that they had from Santa Clara PD. I'm going to put them on blast, whether it's true or not. This Santa Clara PD came back and said, no, there's a Flacco that's talking to them, that's working with them. Okay. Now, this is in 2005. Any type of cooperation on my end did not happen until 2006 to the end of 2006. Okay. So with this information that was presented to them, there was 2 particular NF members that were pushing issues on me. One of them still active, so I'm not going to mention their name. The other one was Lencho. Both derived from San Jose. Both of them had different issues at that time, allegedly against me. Okay, this is when the wife incident happened and so forth as well. This is why I was blind to what was going on. Okay, I didn't know that the reason why they did not want to deal with the incident regarding my wife was there was speculation, and they were in the process to try to prepare a plan to have me whacked. Okay. One individual, Lencho, as you already know, I kind of had the issue with one of his regiment members that I actually plugged that dude in with. Now, there's been past issues with me and Lencho, but I thought we were past that, you know, in San Quentin, you know what I mean? I kind of, had a different attitude towards him, you know what I mean? Not playing my position, and I kind of had to stand, you know what I mean, to where it was like that. Another incident where I had to reach out to his wife at the time because everything was incommunicado. My contact, my channel, which was out there in South, I couldn't get in contact with nobody. He got pissed about that. Why is he reaching out? He tried to press the issue on me about that. The other individual, okay, didn't really personally know me, but there's several incidents that we had occurring out there on the streets that it may have looked like I was impeding on his business, meddling in his affairs, when it was never like that, but that's the way it looked. One of them had to do with a situation when an individual from BRS was stabbed out there in the streets, okay? An individual from Capitol Park that was plugged in, Cyclone, and BES, who had funked with BRS, were part of that whole issue. They got at me, BRS, I went to resolve it. I brought it to the Cardinales, I brought it to the table, I addressed it, I had the whole case factors, and they were pissed about it because they hadn't got the information from the other shit channels at that time. So it was making me look good on my end that I had all my homework and I'm presenting it to them first. That's one incident. Some people were part of a particular individual's regiment. A lot of these dudes used to work with me beforehand. Now at this time, there's a whole bunch of carnals out there in the streets. So a lot of these dudes used to like to do business dealings with me because of the way I treated them. Hey, I'm open for game. I've worked with you before. We can work hand in hand. But I'm not your channel. I have nothing to do with that. That's your business. If you want to get some product from me, that's me and yours business. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. And so there was issues that were coming from that. There was a third issue that happened out there in the streets where an individual named Jerome Goose, a Filipino homeboy I've known for years, they were trying to put a green light on the streets of false narratives that were being put out there. They said that he had they said he had been kicking it with some new flower cat named David Locon Gonzalez, right? Over there in Alviso in a trailer park. Now, I was seeing a female that was living in Alviso at that time. Okay, she had a roommate she wanted me to get rid of that was from my town, which all I have to do is say, hey, you got to go, he's going to go. So after I'm over there, I find out there's three people, we have it's a house turned into an apartment. So our next door neighbors was some cat from Alviso, rather dude, and then there was another cat, right? Named, another chick named Mary. Mary had a kid with David Lacon Gonzalez's brother. So what happened is Goose went over there to my house in the future, go kick it with her roommate, who they were all there on their tricking game, right? David Lacon Gonzalez went over with his brother to see his brother's baby's mama. Next thing you know, they're playing dice. Goose doesn't even know nothing about the dude. It wasn't like they were kicking it. He was running with him. It was all false shit. And so they were sending dudes from a particular crew, like Shorty, Tron, and all Trigger and all these cats. And I went over and short stopped it and said, you know, you guys have to back off. I got dude cleared. You know what I'm saying? And so at first they wanted to whack the dude. So here I am, I'm getting involved in all these issues. And then there's a whole nother issue that ended up occurring to where I was doing business with someone from Salas. You know what I'm saying? With one of their safe houses out there in Fremont through a partner of mine. I'm not going to put his name out there. That individual wanted to do business with this individual, Salinas. The one that was running Salinas said, no, we already got him working with Flock on some things. This individual tried to get a backlash, tried to put me in a crossover. A lot of people were pissed. So based upon that, they felt that in some ways that I was doing whatever I wanted out there and that I had more pull than certain C's out there in the streets. Because a lot of them were freshly out. I've been out there doing my thing and being successful. It's not my fault. I'm here to work hand in hand. If you want to touch down with me, you can touch down. So based upon all this whole thing about 2005 that I'm working with Santa Clara Police Department as an informant or whatnot, or giving them information, they came up with a ploy to try to have me hit. They pressed the issue. Lencho and the other dude, they wanted to put a green light on me. They brought it to the Carnal and Salinas. You guys all know who I'm talking about because he was in charge of every regiment out there in the streets. All these Carnales vouched for me out there in the streets, which I appreciate. I didn't know all this, but it was a 70% chance that they were going to hit me. It was this close, just based upon these two C's pushing the issue. But there was those that kept on standing up for me, particularly one that I didn't even know that was going to stand up for me like this, man, was one out of Hollister. I heard he was the main one that was pushing back into my play, like, fuck that. You know what I'm saying? And these are things I didn't know. But the thing is, where they went wrong in this whole matter, bro, was this. If they had any type of speculation or anything, right? Why wouldn't you put me on fucking freeze for the time being? Why would you continue to have me do operations out there in the streets, get money and do dealings with me if you're trying to fucking whack me? And then they're saying that that was the reason why they didn't want to deal with the wife issue. You get what I'm saying? So the higher command made a decision, and there was every C was backing me up except for those two. You know what I'm saying? They were all backing my play, but no one even brought it to my light. Because, you know what I mean? No one said, hey, Flox, what happened here, bro? What's really going on? You know? And in the aftermath of everything, like I said, man, first and foremost, I never worked with no Santa Clara PD. Second of all, if Santa Clara PD would not have access to any FBI or any other type of gang units in any other cities, they don't breach security like that. They keep shit a lot more fucking tighter than that. So I'm questioning whether you have if this is really factual information, do they really have an inside source? Or was this a whole plan to have me fucking hit because there was personal issues here? I was becoming an obstacle to their agendas, jealousy and greed. You get what I'm saying? So I'm hearing all this stuff about it, man. And, you know, other things come to light. You know what I'm saying? This happened in 2005. You know, I didn't agree to do what I did till 2006. And the thing is when I did agree to flip, I said this in our last video. They were telling me personally that they're trying to put a green light on you. I thought it was for other reasons. I thought it was because I was messing up dudes' money, which was also part of the problem, they said. But it had nothing to do with that. It had to come with this false narrative that I was fucking working with law enforcement when I wasn't. They were trying to have me killed. The other thing that was saving grace on me, right, was that what was brought up by the higher command out there that was running things was, do you have any proof? They had no proof. There's no evidence, no nothing. But there were still dudes that were willing to have me killed. Dudes I had helped out there in the streets that I backed up on numerous situations. They were still discussing on having me killed based upon that, man, with no fucking proof. If they would have whacked me, right, there would have been nothing that came out. I guarantee you on that. And so what they don't realize, right, if you really look at the scenario, man, that issue was going to continue. They were going to find a way to have me whacked at that time. You know what I'm saying? The thing that saved me was I probably went on that parole violation, things settled down. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But man, bro, when I heard all this stuff, it gave me a validation, bro. Because homeboy said, you know what, you did the right thing. These dudes had a hard on for you. Two individuals had a hard on for you at that time that wanted me whacked. And they did have some seniority. It wasn't like they were some C's that just got recruited. You know what I'm saying? It was only a matter of time before they were going to find a reason to eliminate me. And me not knowing this was fucked up because when people ask me what happened with the scenario, why didn't they back you up over your wife? You've asked me that. You said we couldn't make sense of it. Why did this not happen? And so when I heard this story from homeboy, who's no longer active, but he was a Carnal in the mix at that time, it made me think, you know what? This actually makes sense. Because there's nothing that you can make sense of the matter with someone trying to sexually assault someone's wife. There's no fucking clearance from that. So they were looking at it from, okay, let's find out if he's fucking telling or not, then we'll deal with it later. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I see four little things that trip me out. One, you know, it's kind of relevant, kind of not, but the fact that that individual, Lencho, got mad at you for reaching out to his hyena or whatever. This is why you don't involve hyenas in business to begin with. You know, we'll just leave that one at that. Two, correct. Why are you still hustling, copping, handing off money, you know, taking care of sensitive matters for the group if you're supposedly working with the police?
Because the other ones didn't believe it, bro.
That one really throws me for a loop.
It does,
you know?
bro.
Because all they had to do was put you on freeze. You don't get access to nothing. You still have your respect, but you're just, you know, basically you're on timeout for lack of a better way to say it. And then they could have got to the bottom of it. They could have tried to provide proof, which was going to be non-existent, obviously, you know, because you've been so transparent and about what you've had going on. There's no reason for you to to backtrack and say something different than actually what happened. And the last thing, man, is I've seen all this treachery, you know what I mean, and all these things go down with crossing up and personal agendas against certain individuals by others, you know, with no basis other than, you know, for some reason you're not feeling that person, you know.
Yeah.
And in my experience, me personally, I was able to avoid all that just by who I dealt with. But that is the norm. That isn't you know, that isn't an exception. What happened with Flacco here isn't an exception to the normal operating procedure and normal things that transpire when you're in the mix. This is kind of the norm. This is going to happen, and it's going to happen a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of times you're not even going to know. Like Flacco didn't know they're plotting to do some stuff for him, you know, basically without no due process, all behind personal agenda, personal feelings, and you know, lack of favoritism for an individual, you know, quite the opposite.
Well, check it out though. I wasn't the only one that they were trying to whack too. They were trying to have that dude whacked, who's from Salinas, right? That was doing business with me. I'm not going to put his name out there. You know what I mean?
I know.
You know what I'm saying? You got, if people could put two to two together, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? And me and him have a strong, long, extended friendship. And I remember him calling me one time, man, and he's like, he's drunk on the phone. He goes, man, I love you, brother. He goes, I don't care that you're from San Jose. And I was like, I didn't get what was going on, bro. You know what I mean? I didn't know that there was that much tension off the things I was doing out there. You know what I'm saying? Because like, I'm one of those ones that, like I said, man, I operated out there in the streets and I respected the chain of command, but at the same time, you're not going to limit what I'm doing because I'm doing this on behalf of the organization. I'm going to prosper. Don't get mad because I'm kicking in more money than most of all you guys. You know what I'm saying? They try to put a green light on him as well. And I think that's when they started to see that this was personal because there was nothing wrong that we were doing. I mean, in a little sense there was, because I'm part of this regiment, he's part of this regiment, but this wasn't regimental business. This was one-on-one business between me and an old friend. You know what I'm saying? And I wasn't copping that much work at the time. It maybe be like 4 ounces every couple of days just to grab them. You know what I'm saying? Just to have a little bit more stockpile. I always paid for a cash. It was nothing. I mean, it was just quick business. But someone else wanted to be doing business with this individual. When this was the least of anything, I was getting anything from anybody. I wasn't worried about this. This was just convenient. Let me pick up a couple real quick. I mean, so I have a little bit more on me right now. You know what I'm saying? And they wanted him whacked too. And there was a lot of frustration, right, that was going on because the individual from Salas was making the proper decisions in that because some C's thought there was favoritism. I don't know why they thought there was favoritism with me because I really didn't have a relationship with this particular C, but there was other individuals that did. You know what I'm saying? So I couldn't make any sense of it, but if you really think about it, right, I think they knew the story was bullshit from the get-go. The track record of where this was coming from at the time, you know what I mean, were people from those that had been indulging. You get what I'm saying? So there's always going to be those red flags of what the truth is. Why is all this coming out? Why is there such a hard on in this scenario? You know what I mean? Who's this contact with the Santa Clara PD? Well, where's the proof that he's doing this? How did they obtain this information? You got to do all the 5 W's, research and investigation, before you make any decisions. You know what I'm saying? The fact that these guys were ready to make a decision with no verification, you know what I'm saying, that's coming from a cop, that maybe the cop even got the information wrong. I mean, oh yeah, this guy Flacco, it may have not even been me. Wrong information, cross-reference and so forth, could have got someone hit. And I never could understand, like I said, you guys have seen me do a video on this, man, and I've said it like before, I could not understand. I felt betrayed and so forth. Now I see the bigger picture of what really happened. But all the colonels had to do was, hey, Flax, we got an issue we need to resolve. You're on freeze. They didn't have to tell me what I'm on freeze for. I'm going to follow instructions because I know on my end I did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? But instead, they played me. You know what I'm saying? They played themselves because, first of all, you didn't deal with the situation with my wife when everybody knows what happened. That dude should have got fucking whacked. Straight up. I'm glad it didn't happen. Don't get me wrong, because I'm not about that lifestyle no more. But at the moment, I was. 2, you guys over there talking about it, telling everybody but me, it got back to law enforcement. They tell me that you guys already put a green light on me. You know, go back to my video. I mentioned this at 1830. So when I heard this, man, the person was like, man, are you okay? I'm like, man, I'm more than okay. You just validated more than I needed to know. You just told me that I did make the right choice. Because if they were going to do that, then they were going to find a reason to get me either way. And just the fact that they had the thought and that they pushed that issue, they pushed it. They wanted it. It wasn't like, oh, we're done with it. These guys were making waves to have me killed, bro. You know what I'm saying? It was a 70% chance. That's how close it came because of their seniority. You know, can you imagine if that one individual from Salinas wasn't out there at that time? I would have got whacked.
Yeah, no doubt. I got a couple little more things that I noticed. One, as far as the whole Santa Clara thing, let's just keep it honest. Was that something that they even fabricated? Is that something they were really told? You know, if they want you whacked, how are they gonna, man, come on, man. What do you think? The cop's gonna come to the fucking your due process hearing and be like, yeah, Flacco's worked with us. How can that even be said? You know what I mean? Two, what I did notice about the thing with you and that individual from Salinas working together that we're not going to mention, in the Constitution, there is a thing basically stating you can't participate in any kind of outside ventures, you know, as far as getting money, unless it's authorized by the regiment. So that's weak, bro, because you can, you know, during due process.
That all the time, though, bro.
Hey,
I should have had
right.
I should have enough jurisdiction to do whatever I want as long as I kick in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
that's one little stickler point. I mean, it's minute. It's not nothing to get whacked over though. You know
I know.
What I mean? That's a hey, Flacco in the future, whoopty whoopty whoop. You know, according to this subsection, you know, Article 4, Section whatever. And finally, man,
they knew about this though. They knew about the business transactions.
Then who was pushing the issue?
First, my communications over here didn't know. You know what I'm saying? But I was given free rein to do what I needed to do just as long as I made money. That's all that was matter, was as long as I brought my monthly quota in every month. That's all that mattered. You know what I'm saying? It's not my fault that I had my own resources. It's not my fault that you didn't have enough dope to plug me because I could move more dope than most people. That's not my fault. You know what I'm saying?
I'll tell you what, a lot of people didn't like me because of my resource. Everybody know who's my resource was. And they hated it. You know, but they wanted a fucking free ride and to be able to take advantage and all that shit, bro. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
nah, it ain't gonna work like that. The final thing I wanted to say is, you know, you weren't like a long-term member or, you know, even a couple years. A C is always going to be trying to feel intimidated if you're doing more than them because you're making them look bad as well. When you're not at least an equal to them, you know what I mean? And even when you are an equal, even when you are above them, you know, if they don't like you, bro, they're gonna dirty politic your ass. Bro. I was told that if you're out there making 100,000 and they're making 10,000, they felt this dude, you know.
They felt I was allowed to get away with as much as I wanted, but I mean, I'm out there. It's like this: that ranking doesn't exist out here as much unless you have a certain position. We're all on equal terrain out here. We're all on one responsibility. I'm functioning under the same fucking rules and guidelines and everything that you function under. I have the same obligations as you. So as long as I'm not intentionally trying to intervene in what your business is, it shouldn't be a problem. You know what I'm saying? I'm not short-stopping anybody else. I mean, it's okay when I'm doing business with you, but when I do business with someone else, it's wrong.
Because they're not seeing a piece.
You know? So
as an individual, not as a group, but as an individual.
Oh, we still continue to do business. I got like one of those little like how do you call? Oh, so what's going on with you over there? What are you plugging in over there for? It was more mad that I was plugging it over there, but this had nothing to do with it, man. I mean, homeboy should have never said nothing because this was between me and him. You know what I'm saying? If you're doing proper business out there in the streets, whoever you're dealing with, I dealt with so many different people, and that, I mean, look at the results of what happened. About two of those people I shouldn't even have been dealing business with. That should have been not okay. You get what I'm saying? So it applies there as well. They put themselves in those bad positions. But you know, when it came out, it was more like one person wanted to do business with this dude, but because he was doing business with me, the reason why he was doing business with me is we had a long-term relationship and friendship, and it wasn't even no big business. It was just a convenience thing. It was about 5 miles from my house where their safe spot was at. I would go meet and go grab whatever I needed if I needed something real quick. That was it. It was it was my least amount of where I plugged in resources. I had all kinds of resources, bro. It was coming in all the time. All these other issues, they're trying to whack a dude. That's just an unjust call. Why would I not stand up for that dude? Why would I not, if I have the information and it happened at my lady's house at the time, why would I not go to bat for him instead of them trying to have him hit because they were asking me to hit the dude? You know what I'm saying? And I was able to reveal the truth. Why am I wrong? Because your crew couldn't deal with this issue or with him. I go over there and get the shit done in one day and have dude contributing to the fucking regiment within one day. You guys have been working on him for weeks and he didn't want to kick in nothing. And as soon as I stepped in, he wanted to fuck with me and he was fucking with us. I was able to get the homeboys, the Xbox 360 at the time, whatever PS was coming out, that were coming out for like $600. I was getting that shit for 50% because these homeboys were running this shit for me. The same dude that they couldn't get at trusted me. That's not my fault. He respected me. He knows my get down. And I was able to bring something by my interactions with him. They were trying to either kill him or have him fucking pay a tax. He's like, I did nothing wrong. I'm not paying no tax. You can't fault that. He did nothing wrong. That's two times they tried to have someone whacked. Their information was false. And that goes to show what kind of shit was going on out there, man. They were just looking for a reason to set examples. And at that time in San Jose, there was all kinds of C's out there. There was a lot of us being newly recruited. There was a whole bunch of us out there, man. So there's only so much certain people can do. You know what I'm saying? And you're only going to be successful. You're only going to be successful in how you're able to manage things. I've been out there for a long time. I've been working with a lot of C's. I emulated a lot of things that I've seen, but I'm fairly intelligent. I was able to apply it better than the ones in what they were doing. That's why I was able to stay out there in the streets so fucking long. You know what I mean? And even those that I was surrounded with and doing dealings with, they were out there for a long time. It wasn't until these fucking idiots that couldn't stay fucking sober that got out of fucking corporate or the bay came out and started meddling in what we had out there. It's when all these issues started to happen. You know what I'm saying? I did nothing wrong, bro. That's the whole truth of it. You know what I mean? You got one dude over there fucking telling everybody he's going to go to, he got a motorcycle accident and broke his leg. And so he has to do a parole violation. Motherfucker, you got a dirty test and you fucking broke your leg because you said you were the general jumping on a fucking bed. That's the fucking truth. But you're telling everybody lies. You know what I'm saying? That's a fact. If he wasn't going in for a motorcycle accident or his leg was broken for that, he was fucking high on PCP talking about he was a general. When his lady was laughing at him, he fell off and broke his fucking leg. You know what I'm saying? And the same thing was happening everywhere. You know what I mean? So the truth of it is, man, is we don't make things perfect out there in the streets. There's going to be a lot of bending of the rules at times. You know what I'm saying? But never would I ever try to jeopardize anybody's lives or take their money from them. Never at any time. So when all this is happening, one, you allowed my wife to be disrespected, sexually assaulted, and you guys didn't want to do shit about it. And what I thought, but I learned later, it was why they didn't want to do nothing was because these allegations against me, which were not true. I wasn't working with nobody. You know what I'm saying? Two, it got out there to law enforcement that you guys were trying to put a green light on me. Watch the last video I did. At 1830, I brought it up. That law enforcement brought to my attention that they were trying to put a green light on me. This ended up to be true. I never knew all this information. This is just basically new. Someone I know, seen the video that was involved in it, reached out to me and said that you need to know the truth of what really happened, bro. He goes, because he found out afterwards that I had not told when they thought I had told. When they tried to put the green light on me, he was a supporter of me. He was backing me. But after, when they first found out that I had flipped, they kind of had questions. Well, maybe he was flipping the whole time. Then everything came out. It wasn't until later. So the allegations they had made against me were fucking false. They were gonna have me killed under false pretenses. You know what I mean? And then I get out, you smile on my face. It's like, come on, man. So like, you know, I was a little upset when I was talking about this yesterday. And the homeboy told me, he goes, man, look at what you're doing with your life. You know what I'm saying? You're fucking succeeding, you're prospering, you're helping people, you're doing all the things that you need to do. And, you know, someone else asked me, I forgot who it was. They said, okay, would you do this different? If you knew all this, what would you do? I said, not a fucking damn thing. I got 2 kids that happened after this. And if I was to change any other choice or decision that I made in all this, I would not have those 2 kids. And I don't think any parent would want to give up the rights or to have their kids that they have in their life currently taken away from them in order to have a whole different life. Yeah, it was fucked up. I would have still been active, bro. I probably would be either in the feds or fucking in the state shit going on right now. I would have never fucking, you know what I mean? They pushed me out. They forced me by their own actions. You get what I'm saying? So in the end, they helped me out. In the end, my life's better because of it. I don't have to deal with all this political bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But it was not a choice that I made. They made the choice for me by how they treated me. And to find out even more about it, I thought that fucking they just looked at me like I was like nothing. No, they looked at me like I was a fucking informant when I wasn't. And then the fucking flip part is then I did inform on them. So you get what you fucking owe. You reap what you sow. You caused this. It wasn't me. I have no fucking guilty conscience. You motherfuckers were out there trying to fucking kill me. You know what I'm saying? For those that I let down in the situation, you got to look at the bigger picture. That's why there's a lot of homeboys that look at it and say, man, Flock's got fucked in that situation. And I never really understood what they meant by that. It was a whole bad thing that happened, bro. And it goes to show you the lifestyle of corruption, betrayal, and that jealousy and greed. You know what I'm saying? And me, I'm fucking so naive because I'm thinking about the betterment of the gente. I'm thinking about the organization. I'm thinking about fucking, the buildup of the organization to make money and generate, and let's all fucking win. Let's put this money in legal ventures. Let's do this. I was trying to get a courier business going. I was putting all kinds of shit together because I'm a go-getter, bro. And to find out that motherfuckers are jealous over that, it's not my fault. It's not my fault. You've been up to the bay for 10 years or courtroom for a couple of years. You come out for 3 months and get a dirty test and you're back in there. Or you get caught with a fucking sack out of nowhere. That's not my fault. That I've been able to stay out there for 17 months, 16 months, work with the regiment, you know what I mean? And not get caught on no major case. Because I did things right and I treated people right. And that's the thing that they never realize. When you treat your manpower and soldiers right, they're going to be less inclined to tell on you. Everybody that fucked with me, I never fucked people over. Yeah. I wanted you to win. I'm going to find a way to make the best out of you, to utilize you to where it benefits me, but to where you benefit as well. And that's why motherfuckers fucked with me.
Hey, man, you are on the dead same on that, bro. Hey, everybody's like, man, you're kind of, the most relaxed, chill, easy to get along with dude. It's like being a tyrant. The first person that's going to get told on is the one that they're intimidated or fear the most. That's just human nature. You know what I mean? If you treat everybody fairly, if you do this, they're like, oh, Rojo's only greenlit a couple people. Rojo's only had a couple people. Whoop-de-whoop. Bro, drawing attention to yourself as a person who resorts to violence, being unfair, showing all these negative behaviors, you're going to be the first one that goes down. And I've gone through it too, on a certain extent, man, as far as like dancing bear and shit. Like, he wanted me to whack someone because he didn't want me over there fucking running the thing because he knew Lobo had a bus ticket. So he wanted me to be an AC with him. It's like, come on. And I know what he was trying to do. I thought about this the other day. What he was trying to do is think, okay, tell him,
you won't do it.
When he goes out to the yard thinking maybe I'll fucking lock it up and he'll just be rid of me. Nah, bro, I'm out here. Where's he at? You know what I mean? And I know he hated that. And the fact that I wouldn't share my resource with him.
Yeah.
Man, he tried to have me whack somebody, which is fine. I'll do it. But not because I'll only do it because he was the authority in charge. And I'm gonna respect that. But I'm not your bitch, homie. Because I won't tell you, because you can't get my fucking $1 million resource that I got because you're out there dealing with porn and stuff like that and getting busted with that kind of stuff. You're mad at me because I don't have a drug problem and because I'm an up and coming C and I have the only person I got to answer to is Big Tibs. Get the fuck out of here, bro. I know what you're trying to do.
Let me ask you something.
Guess who was at the yard? Hey, what's up? Lobo, where's he at? Oh, he didn't come out. I didn't think so.
Let me ask you something, bro. You know how I'm very upfront, bro.
100%.
If I don't like something, you know it.
100%.
You know that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, very honest too. Hey, all you guys listen to this, what Flacco just said, you can take it to the fucking bank. I seen the conversation on screenshots. I know all the individuals involved. If Flacco tells you something, whether it makes him look good, bad, ugly, handsome, it doesn't matter. It's legit. So pay attention to what he's saying.
So you know how like fucking when I don't like something, I'll tell you like fucking I don't like fucking this shit. I'm not gonna go into all kinds of fucking little quarrels and shit, right?
Yeah.
I'm open about it and I press it. I don't fucking I keep at it. I express my feelings.
Yeah, I know, bro. I know.
That's how I was back then too. If I didn't like something, I didn't give a fuck who you was. I would press the issue like this. Now fuck that, you know what I mean? Because you got to protect your own self. If you feel like someone's trying to take advantage of or disrespect or even abuse you or oppress your rights as a, you know what I'm saying? When you're out there on the streets, I'm falling under the NF Bandera, period. I don't give a fuck. That's what it is. I fall under those same fucking rules as anybody else. Therefore, I got to be treated the same. Same rank, same status. There ain't nothing different out there in the streets. So me standing up for myself, I was always taught that. me knowing these things, I stood up for myself, right? So I think that may have played a factor into that. It really probably could have rubbed a few people wrong at times. You know what I'm saying? Because I never held back, even when I was in the joint. It didn't matter who it was. I know not to get at no fucking high-ranking dudes like that, the higher command. I'm not stupid, bro, but you know what I'm saying? Other people that, you know, I'm not afraid to say what I feel on paper. You know what I'm saying? You know, Xerox said, send it to them if you feel like it. You know what I mean? And that was the kind of attitude I had at times. And I don't know if that was maybe I was a little overconfident, but I was right in every fucking action, every fucking time. And like this matter, like I said, man, like people asked, like, what happened? He must have did something else when it came to why they didn't want to take action when the situation happened with my ex-wife. It had nothing to do with that. You know what I'm saying? I had nothing else on me except for these fucking.
It was way more treacherous than even that.
It was way more worse than what I thought, bro. So it made me feel like at the time when I was out there, it made me feel like less of importance. I didn't know that this issue was going on, man. I don't know if this was self-created or if they really had a line. I know that this incident really happened. I have no doubt. I'm pretty sure anybody can check with any of those carnales from Salinas or anybody from San Jose at the time to find out if this was exactly true. And I'm 100% accurate. All these issues were pressed on me. 100% confirmed. You know what I'm saying? Hey, and like I said, man, much love and much respect to those carnales that backed my play on it. The other chain of command should have dealt with this shit differently, though. They should have put me on freeze. Therefore, I couldn't feel any issues about this issue not happening that wasn't being done for. You were more worried about getting money and utilizing me. If they would have did that, the outcome of this matter would have been different. Because you tell me I'm on freeze. Okay, I'm on freeze. I know I've done nothing wrong. We'll get to this issue later. I know what I got to do. I'll fall in fine. They could have did whatever they had to do, look into anything. They didn't, though. So instead, they made me feel like fucking shit. They made me feel betrayed. They made me feel all this stuff. And then when I get locked, when law enforcement come and gets at me, oh yeah, they have a green light on you. And I thought the green light was over something totally different. You know, I was told detriment on NF functions. Not fucking. Basically, they fucking thought I was a motherfucking informant.
Hey, check this out. If I would have been out on the streets and that fell under my desk, my first question would be like, well, why is he still participating in regiment activities?
Exactly. That's what I said.
Number two, and more importantly, why are you talking to some kind of gang cop to get this information in the first place? What is your relationship? And three, now that you want to push this fucking issue and say this brother's working with these people, I'm going to need you to get that recorded by the police. I'm going to need a text message coming from his phone, or you need to shut the fuck up with that shit.
You know what, too? This could have been
straight up.
This should have been some third party shit that someone else was.
And motherfuckers were smoking the pipe and fucking, yeah, hey, I got pulled over the other day and they said your boy Flacco tells us all kinds of shit. Hey,
you know
straight up, bro. Straight up, homie. But I would have handled that. Hey, if I would have came out and that fell on my desk, those are my first two major questions.
I think the homeboy in Salinas really realized that too. I think he knew it.
Well, he's not an idiot, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's not a Delphine. He's not a fucking weirdo. He's not an idiot.
It still should have been brought up though, bro. Like, I mean.
Well, they're not going to bring it to your attention in case they're trying to smack you.
No, not like that, bro. But they should have put me on freeze regardless, bro.
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
And then the first thing I would have done is whoever said that, man, you got to talk, homie.
No one believed it though, bro. So I don't know if they were thinking maybe, okay, if we put him on freeze, it may tip him off. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what was going on in their mind, man. You know what I'm saying? All I know is that there was a lot of people who were indulging.
That's a good point, too.
The ones that were making these allegations were indulging, bro.
Yeah. And see, you got to figure that one individual, Lencho, and this goes for DB too. How many times have they made claims and tried to get people whacked and caught up and spun things to fit their narrative and whoop-de-whoop? You would think there would come a point, you know, with the homeboys in the Bay or Rita or wherever they were at the time, to be like, hey, look, we got 20 C's on the streets. We got 30 different reports about misconduct and allegations, and 15 of each come from you guys, man. What the fuck, man? You
know what though, Ro? At that time, right, there was a major drought. They didn't have to do really no business dealings with me.
Oh, that was the $1,300 a zip era, huh?
Where you couldn't find it. So they weren't worried about giving me no product. I was out to fend for myself, bro, at that time. To be honest with you, now that you think about it, then putting me on freeze may have not been no benefit. I still got to kick in my monthlies. You know what I'm saying? I'm supposed to have this crew over here that I'm supposed to fucking help eat. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, there's a whole lot of different factors, man. Like, I even went as far as thinking that maybe like, there was nothing that was given concrete as far as, was this directly someone plugged into him or was this through somebody else? You know what I'm saying? It probably was through somebody else and the information got crossed in the wires.
You know why that drought happened, right? 3 major, huge ass industrial complexes got hit down there. And what they did is they didn't send no more for a month. They had smaller ones. They didn't send no more for a month on purpose. So when they did start reintroducing it, they could command whatever dollar value they wanted.
This is what I was told too, though, bro, was because there was too many small factions that were bringing shit over. They wanted to shut that pipeline down as well.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was a rough time.
That was
I found them for 9, a zone, and that was love, bro. That was love. And I did that from in jail. Hey, my neighbor was a paisa. Me and him worked together in the kitchen. And I'm like, bro, shit's crazy out there right now. He's like, oh, maybe for you. Hey, and then he made it so, you know, I could take care of my family from in there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But yeah, it was rough. That was rough times.
In general, like, I've been processing this since I've got this information, bro. And a lot of it makes sense. So too.
Hey, since you first told me last night, I woke up thinking about it. Went and had my little coffee and shit, and I was like, God damn.
You know, but see, the thing that got me is there's only one thing that would make sense of it. The whole thing about them not wanting to deal with the situation with my wife, it had to be more than money if you really think about it.
Not necessarily, though.
Huh?
Not necessarily, though. Some people are just, they're jealous, bro.
He wasn't making that much money. I ended up having to do it anyways.
Yeah, but it doesn't, okay, let's not say money per se, but let's say money, influence, and respect, bro. If you're making money, you have more influence than they think you should have, and you're respected by people that they feel should respect them more than you.
Yeah.
That's all it takes for some people, bro. That's all them, just like you're talking about, them dudes that'll come out on the streets and be out 2 months. Oh, damn, Flacco's wiggling. Oh, look, the big homie from Salas respects him, and whoop-de-whoop. Man, fuck Flacco, bro. I should have more respect than him. Well, you don't, because you're a fucking knock.
Hey, Ro, the thing too, though, this particular individual was knowing stuff that nobody should have fucking known, unless, you know what I'm saying? And I know he was in the mix, so I know he was getting those reports. But there was information that, like, you know, stuff is not shared with every regiment member.
Yeah.
So I know he was deeply involved in these conversations that were going on and making the decision. So they wanted, the second time around, they were still pushing that shit when I got out, right? And they tried to reinforce it again. Look, they tried to reinforce the order again when I was doing business with the captain Salinas. They wanted him whacked as well. You know what I'm saying? It was requested for him to be hit and me to be hit. The second time. First it was me. So that just goes to show how much jealousy there was. And it should have, raised red flags that this was personal.
At the very most, that situation with you and him doing your little side business, the very most, that's a fine.
Yeah.
In a verbal redirection about, hey, this is why we don't do this. No big deal. You might not necessarily know. You might not have studied the Constitution. This is the rule right here. Let's not let that happen again. Flacco, just get at it. That's all that is, bro.
Yeah.
Whack you, bro. Get the fuck out of here with that shit.
But you know what? Everybody was, hey, bro, they're all violating policy, bro. So what's the difference to me? Like, it doesn't.
The difference from you is they think they're above you, and they're gonna, hey, they just violated policy right before that they went and talked about you. You know what I mean? They were violating the hell out of some policy. But it's okay for them because Flacco's he's a young man in this shit. He hasn't been around 30 years and gossiped about enough people yet. Tried to get him hit to fucking have our respect.
The thing was, I was involved in just as much shit out there in the streets when these motherfuckers weren't even out, bro. And I would have helped any one of them if they would have got it.
And why were they in there? For dirty tests and shit?
I did help one of them, bro. The one, I didn't bring this up in my last spill. Taha Rodriguez brought something to my attention before, right? When I was getting out, he knew I was plugged in. He said that there was an individual out there in Milpitas that has a kid with Lencho's stepdaughters, that there's an individual out there in Milpitas that owes money. Okay? I know the dude. I'll get the money. I went out there and fucking made sure I called 2 homeboys from San Jose. One of them ended up being part of that homeboys crew later on. That's how good I knew those dudes that were working under his crew, was that years before they were working with me. If I wouldn't have caught a case, they would have still been working with me. So I sent these homeboys over from San Jose to go deal with this and collect the debt. As soon as I got the debt, I went over there to Lencho's stepdaughter and gave her the fucking money. And that was with a homeboy that I've known as a kid that he's like my little homeboy, my little youngster. But business is business. If you owe money and they're promising to pay us, and this is going to go to a C's daughter, I'm going to go handle it. So, and I mean, it wasn't like I didn't look after you. I mean, there's more on one occasion that I looked after that dude. I thought that we were cool. I thought we were bypassed all the old issues. No, apparently not, bro. Apparently trying to give me fucking whack.
There's some dudes like that, bro, that just if they don't like you, they're gonna do their best to get you hit, reprimanded, on freeze, and just out of the picture, bro. You know, it's for whatever reason they felt Flacco was a threat to their position, their status, their ability to earn. You were just a threat, bro. And some people, instead of using that as a stepping stone to strive and maybe not be such a piece of shit, they're gonna try to get you out of the picture.
It's like this, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't sit there and fucking boast about the shit that I was doing or try to fucking put 10 under one or anything like that.
Yeah.
I was out there fucking moving.
Yeah.
Moving for a minute, bro. There was times where I was under certain C's to where I really didn't want to get the product even earlier in my career because it was
garbage, it was overpriced, etc.
You know what I'm saying? So I always established my own resources, man. And I always fucking got it, bro. I always got money. You know what I'm saying? And so like there's always been that, like, I had that business acumen to make it happen, bro. And I was able to employ good people that were able to work around me, that felt wanted, that felt like they weren't being used.
Right.
You know what I mean? I had a whole different philosophy in the game, bro.
Me too.
And that's why I was so successful. Every time I got out, everybody was happy because they already knew what I was going to do out there. I was going to get shit fucking cracking. I wasn't going to just have one play. I was going to have about 5, 6 dudes that were dropping me like 2 to 3 pounds every other day. And having that shit coming in, I'm just fucking boom, distributing work. Money's coming in. We got a business venture. Hey, bro, look, we could deal with this. We can start this business over here. I made shit like that happen, bro. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like I brought nothing to the table. I contributed tons of money. You know what I mean? Ain't no one could say anything fucking different, man. They could fucking sit there and say, oh, this and that, man. Fuck that. You wasn't there the whole time. I was out there fucking getting it, bro. You know what I'm saying? Not just for fucking 3, 4 months. I was out there for fucking years. Why some people come out, yeah, they get it going for maybe 2, 3 months, and then they fucking fall off. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't me. I was out there for fucking years, staying out there in the streets, getting it. You know what I'm saying? But I never let it get to my head. I worked with everybody. But I felt so comfortable when I was doing what I was doing that it was natural, bro. I think if you would have came out, if someone had came out like fucking, like corny or something like that, I'd have felt just as comfortable with them as anybody else, because that was the life I was living. And I knew everything I was doing was right. You know what I'm saying? I was not inferior enough, nobody. I didn't feel superior. I was just me. I was just being who I am. If they didn't like it, fuck them then.
Hey, bro, dude, motherfuckers be hating, bro. I went to San Quentin on a violation one time, and somebody had got at me. I don't remember who it was, talking about they heard I was out there using and shit. It's like, bro, I haven't even smoked weed since I was 20 years old, bro. And that was one time. And you're out there talking about I'm a knock. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Hey, don't make me crush you with my wallet.
I got in trouble for that, though. I got in trouble for that one time, though, bro. Out there.
You got on a good one?
Nah, bro, but fucking everybody else was doing it, bro. I could name everybody out there that was doing it. There was only maybe 1 or 2 people in my whole career that weren't. Every one of them. So fucking, I don't want to hear any of that bullshit, bro.
Hey, my crew, nobody did anything except smoke and maybe drink.
You're fucking, yeah.
But see, I set up my crew weird, bro. I'd have like one little leader in each hood, bro. All the little Concord hoods, Antioch, Pittsburgh, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't mess with nobody else. Like some people that were working for me, yeah, they were probably fucking loaded and shit. But at the same time, they had no idea they were working for me.
Nah, one time I overstepped. I said, I don't give a fuck if they fucking know. I was mad, right? And so it was my homeboy and shit. And you know what I mean? He's related to somebody. He was related to somebody. He tells him, next thing you know, he's making an issue. But I go, man, fuck you. You're fucking probably high on KJ right now, man. I don't want to hear it now. Fucking
talking about you're the general?
Yeah, man, I hung up on the motherfucker. Then the other homeboy, man, what's going on? I go, what the fuck you talking about? The homeboy starts looking at me like this. I'm like, man, what the fuck you think, bro? You know what I'm saying?
Hey, before we end this, Flacco.
Hey, next time I'm not gonna pick you up from that chick's house at 6 o'clock in the morning when you're calling me and fucking all fucking eyes are like this and shit and fucking, you know what I'm saying? I didn't say it, you know what I mean? You know?
Hey, before we end this, right? Think about this. How many views would we get if we had a video when Lencho broke his leg talking about he's the general?
Bro, I wish I had that shit, bro.
Hey, but listen, guys, man, here's a good lesson for you right here, man.
Yeah,
Flacco
don't try
was
to
out there.
kill.
Flacco was out there handling his business. You know, he was functioning 100%. Never done nothing wrong. The shit he done wrong, minor mistakes maybe. You know, everybody makes them.
Everybody does,
Even
man.
Tibs, even Corny, even
Yeah.
DC, people make mistakes. They're trying to get your boy killed because of some fiction, absolute fiction.
Yeah.
And that's where this lifestyle can lead you. We've talked about it many times, homeboy favoritism and just personal dislike for people. Like, why don't you like me? Me and you are supposed to be on the same team more so than a fucking football team. We're supposed to kill or die for each other. And you're over here politicking, stacking, you know, pulling cards out of your sleeve and putting them in your hand to get me fucking whacked.
And I would have did anything for them, bro. Like, even if I didn't know you, I would have fucking wrote for you. You could have been the biggest piece of shit fucking C. I still would have rocked with you and did fucking whatever out of respect for your status.
Yeah.
Because that's what guys are supposed to do, bro. That's, you know what I mean? I'll still, regardless, bro. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what I don't get, man. Like, you don't mistreat your gente. And these are the end results of it, bro. Like, there's a cause and effect. The cause was this over here. The effect is what I did afterwards. So if you want to look at anybody to blame your fucking self for it.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I left Pelican Bay, 20 years old, NF member. When I was leaving, Tibs told me, like the night before, he's like, listen, you ain't Mexican, is it? And you're young. People are going to try to cross you up, fuck with you, punk you, etc. All these negative things. Don't allow that to happen. You're as much as an NF member than anybody else, even me. Stand up for yourself and don't let people take advantage of you. And don't, yes, sir, people, don't do none of that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, he didn't like that. I forgot. I heard he didn't like that sir word, huh?
That wasn't a word in my vocabulary back then, so I don't know. I can't honestly say. To me,
sir, I was told.
I don't know if I've yes sirred him or not before.
I was told by a certain C that we weren't supposed to use that word because when you use the word sir just in anybody, you're holding someone else in a higher admiration than yourself. Believe it or not. You know
man, I use sir for everybody that I have respect for, above me, below me.
Yeah,
it's different thought trains, but hey, going back to when I left, though, he's just like, don't let nobody punk you, man. First thing I get a little violation. They said I absconded. I didn't even abscond. It was nothing, bro. It was just a quick thing. That's when I met fucking what's his name, bro. And it's like the first thing he tries to do is like, well, you need to tell me this and that. I'm like, well, no. And you know, the same thing as you. You know, where you thought you were overextending your boundaries and whatever. I'm not. You weren't.
I wasn't.
Exactly. But this is what other people start to think. Because he tried to tell me, he's like, oh, well, you know, I've been at Cardinale for doop to doop to doop to doop. And in my mind, I don't say it, of course. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I know you're not right. You know what I'm saying? And just like I said, well, go ahead and tell Tibs what you told me. You ain't gonna tell him that shit. He isn't gonna go, I need to know who your connection is right now. He ain't gonna tell. Can you imagine him writing a letter, dear Tibs, I need to know who Rojo's connection is right now. Get the fuck out of here, bro. How's that gonna fly for you?
You know, like I said, bro, this was
they'll try to buff you, bro. They don't like you. I mean, you're gonna have a rough time,
I never, you know, being where I was from, a small town, first and foremost, being my fucking skin complexion and all that, bro. I had to make sure that I was fucking had 10 times more balls than the next man and 10 times smarter.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't going to take shit from nobody, bro. I could be passive, but there's always something going on. My mind's spinning up there, bro. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, bro, I give a fuck what you is as a man. You're a man before anything. Don't hide behind that status and think you can just fucking do whatever the fuck you want to do. Because man to man is a whole different ballgame. And people forget that. They get outside their realm because they let the status become who they are as a man. But check this out. We both men. You know what I'm saying? I have just as much right as you to go out here and do what I have to do as long as I'm not impeding on your activities. Knowingly. It's not my fault that your manpower are coming in contact with me. It's not my fault you're going in on violation every couple of months. Those are not my issues. Because someone's going to pick up the slack either way. You know? And that's just the reality of it, man. Like, I was a cool dude out there. Everybody, and it's funny is that these same motherfuckers that had issues all wanted to fuck with me. Oh, I want to fuck with Flacco. No, I don't want to fuck with that kid. No, I'm okay. All right, maybe a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Why hate? Let me get mine. As long as I'm bringing that back, that envelope every month, it shouldn't have been a worry about what I'm doing, because that's the problem, man. It's everybody's scrutinizing and trying to micromanage what the next man does. You know what I'm saying? And that was a problem because there was too many people out there at that time, bro. Too many. You know?
And
Too many involvement, too many people want to have an opinion. You know, I came across so many situations where I'd run into their crew members, bro, that were not really, how you say it? They weren't on my level when it came to dealing with things, bro. And I would shut the shit down, bro. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But I was always in the right, bro. Every time. But sometimes people think based upon their rank and having this many years in, having 12, 14 years in, it thinks they're going to supersede what you're doing. Nah, it's not always the case, because that money I got right here in my pocket that I'm gonna kick in has more to say than than anything else. You know what I mean? Go pay your fine over there. Don't worry about me.
Yeah, I got a call from one of the people in the reg one day. You know, one of the people who worked for me indirectly, and he's like, "Hey, Lizard wants your phone number. What do I do?" You don't give him my phone number. If he wants my phone number, he's got the channels to get my phone number. Never give nobody my phone number.
That's another dude I had to deal. That's another dude I deal with, bro.
Before I even knew anything about what he had going on, I knew we're from the same town. I already know what you're about, your character, whatever, this and that. It's not something I wanted to be involved with at all. And hey, my very specific instructions told me that I don't got to give nobody nothing.
That's true.
And believe me, I didn't. And I'm fortunate, because there was already enough people telling on your boy, let alone that one.
Yeah.
You know, I definitely didn't want him on my ass. But that was right when he was working, and you know why he wanted to get a hold of me. He wanted my ship to sink. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, nah, bro. Like, people will try to buff you, bro. The guys have been around a while, the guys with the drug problems that aren't team players. You know, and there's no room to be an individualist in that group at all.
We know how it goes, bro. Like, it's like,
you know, that's fighting human nature.
Like I said,
you know,
it is what it is, man. And I hope this story gets out there, that people, you know, make the choices for themselves. Like I said, I'm not going to try to fucking push people away from, you know, anything. You know what I'm saying? Just make proper choices, man. And it's just fucked up that these situations happen, man. And if anything, I hope this gets enough attention that people remember this scenario that happened, for it to not ever be repeated again, because it's a fucked up situation what happened, bro. And to find out stuff years later, to find out this, bro, kind of fucked me up last night, bro, because, you know what I'm saying? I had to really
it validated your fucking personal thought process. It was
even worse than what I thought, bro. Like, I mean, it wasn't that I wasn't important out there. It was that they fucking thought this about me, bro, and that they were trying to do this. You know what I'm saying? There was no red flags or anything that would give them reason to feel that, bro. You know what I'm saying? But it's what it is, bro.
Hey, it could have been totally fabricated, bro. You know, you never know. Motherfuckers are scandalous, dude.
I've considered that, bro. You know what I'm saying? I've considered that.
Oh, how do we get him out of the picture? Well, we can't say he did this wrong because he don't really do nothing wrong. We can't say this. Oh, we can say he's snitching.
That could be the case, bro.
Why are you talking to a detective? And I'm gonna need to see proof. When you make an allegation of that substantial, if you don't have no proof, you're gonna get reprimanded for even bringing that to the table.
Bro. That was the thing that was brought up, bro. That
I don't care who you are.
There was no evidence, bro. That was the whole thing with this. Anyways, man, I think we touched on this for over an hour, bro.
Yeah, we're right at about 58 minutes, man. Hey, appreciate Flacco for sharing the story, man. This is, you know, we try to set a positive example and give you guys, you know, the tools to understand what could possibly come on your plate when you sit down to eat with certain people.
Yeah.
And let this be a primary lesson right here, man. This is one of our most powerful messages right here on why you should be real careful with your choices, man. Like Flacco said, we ain't discouraging nobody. We ain't doing none of that. Just educate yourself and open your mind, because you think, man, there's probably been over 1,000 NF members since the 60s. How many are there now?
And Rojo, everybody could probably put two together on who these individuals are. It doesn't take a rocket scientist, man. From the guy running Salinas at that time, 2005, 2007, for Operation Valley Star. We all know he did the right thing when it came to me. They all know who was out here in these areas. So you guys can put two together. I was asked not to put certain people's names. Those that were bad, I was said okay to do. just because I guess some of these people are still active that still play a part in this.
Yeah, everything
Anyways,
Flacco
man.
said, I've seen the conversation back and forth. I know the individual as well, 100% accurate. Hope you guys enjoyed this as well as learned something. Appreciate Big Flacco. It's your boy Rojo. We're out of here.